Hello lovelies, my name is April Janae. I am a thrifty deal finder and lover of all things home, DIY, and interiors. If you want to know how you can add major value to your home by just doing a few minor enhancements to the exterior or landscaping of your property without spending a fortune, then you've come to the right video. I'm even going to share with you some of the things that my husband and I have done to our home over the past year to increase property value and curb appeal. So my very first tip is to get rid of any overgrown weeds and to just take care of your lawn. This is one of the very most overlooked aspects of curb appeal. I think a lot of people tend to just cut down their grass whenever the weeds are, grown, and they don't really have an actual lawn. And so they tend to keep their lawn care very minimal, and a lot of times this is where the problem lies, in the lack of curb appeal in people's properties. So one thing that my husband and I have done, when we first purchased this home, our lawn was non-existent. We really just had weeds and just dirt. That was pretty much what our front lawn and back lawn looked like. What we did, the first thing we treated was the weeds. We pulled any weeds that need to be pulled. We sprayed any weeds that need to be sprayed. We also treated the lawn with fertilizer, humic acid, which is really good for greening the lawn and thickening it. And we also overseeded our lawn so that we were able to get new grass growing in dead spots where there was no grass and it was simply just dirt or sand on our lawn. And we went from having no lawn to literally one of the greenest lawns on our street, to the point where we had our neighbors stopping on their walks and complimenting us and telling us how great of a job we were doing. And so it really did make a huge impact. And if you guys would like, I can link some of the lawn care items that we used down in our description, so that way you may purchase them for your lawn if you need to. However, I will say that because we're nearing the end of summer and transitioning into fall, lawn care looks a lot different than it would in early spring, midsummer. Just keep that in mind. Tip number 2 is to update your mailbox. This is also a very overlooked thing that I believe can make a huge impact. And whether it's replacing your entire mailbox for a newer one, or giving it a new paint job, replacing the address numbers to something more modern looking, or even just replacing the post, that can really freshen up the space. Another thing I could recommend with the mailbox is to add some greenery or really nice flowers that are in season or that come back every year in the surrounding area of your mailbox, and then that way it just looks really inviting. You can do pavers, stones, or mulch around it, and it just looks very manicured and well kept and intentional. Tip number 3 is actually kind of similar to tip number 2, but it's to add new address numbers to your home. So that's something that's often overlooked. I think the new modern looking numbers really just update the look of your home and brings it back to current. And what we actually did was we purchased some modern numbers from Amazon and we put them on our home. When we purchased our home, there were no address numbers. I think previously they might have had them, but they were nowhere to be found on our property. So we added ours, and I can give you guys a little sneak peek of what that looks like. We do plan to kind of redo it. We're going to use the same numbers, but we have a little DIY in mind to just make it stand out even more on our home. But it's a great way to modernize the exterior of your home or just bring a little bit more attention to detail. Tip number 4 is to update any exterior lighting, whether that be solar pathway lighting, spotlights on your landscaping, whether it be flood lighting that you might need. You can add step lighting, which is really, I think, underestimated because it can really change the ambiance, especially at night. This is something that we did. We used pathway lights actually within our landscaping, and it really just changed how it looked at night and really just elevated our curb appeal, especially at nighttime. So that's definitely another thing. You can change any light fixtures that you may have on your porch if you have any, or you can even add some if that's something you're up to do. We also changed our porch light and our light that's by our garage. We had these old looking ones. I can insert a picture here. And now we have some modern ones that we got off clearance, actually from Walmart, for only like $7 or $10 each, which is really a great savings. Tip number 5 is to add any mulch or rocks or stones to your landscaping. If you have some trees around your property that you may actually like, but you just feel like something is missing, a good thing that you can do is just dig around it, take up the grass or the weeds around it, make sure you put some fabric down to prevent any weeds from growing, and then add some mulch or pine needle or rocks on top, and you can even do landscape edging around it, and that will really cause it to pop more, bring more contrast into the space, and just make it stand out and look, like I said before, intentional. I think that's the theme for this video, is just being more intentional. I feel like that is where the curb appeal comes in. It makes it seem as though your exterior landscaping is really thought out, and that's what makes all the difference. Tip number 6, this is fairly simple. This one is to just take care of your trees and your plants. One thing that I started doing after about almost a year, I would say, of us moving into this home was to really start learning how to take care of the different shrubs, the different trees, and the different plants that were growing around our property. And I think that makes all the difference, because when you just like cut it down every few months, or you know, just the only time it gets water is when it rains, a lot of times your landscaping is just not going to look very lively. It's going to look just lackluster. And I've noticed that when I started to learn how to take care of the different trees and shrubs and flowers and all that, it really made everything just so much more lively and grow better and just look better. Know how to manicure your plants and shrubs. For instance, we have a crepe myrtle tree in the front of our house. It's beautiful and I love the flowering on it, but I just felt like something was off. So I started researching crepe myrtle, and I found that there's a specific way to manicure and trim the crepe myrtle tree. And I noticed that a lot of our neighbors have this tree and it looks so nice, and I'm like, why does ours look like this? And it's because you need to like trim the base, like the trunk or the perimeter of it, and make sure that any of those like really small branches are trimmed off, and then that way it just blooms really nicely. And I can show you before and after pictures so you see like what I mean, because I probably didn't explain that well. But just learning how to manicure that tree based on its specific needs made all the difference. Tip number 7 is paint your front door, paint your back door, your side door, paint the trim on your house. Literally, this makes all the difference. If you like, sometimes I'll see a home that actually looks really nice, but the trim color is off. It just doesn't complement the home, or it just looks very like old and dingy. It needs to be freshened up. A lot of times just paint alone makes the biggest difference when it comes to the exterior of your home. And a lot of times it can be so affordable because you can do it yourself. I feel like it's self-explanatory, guys. This is like so simple and so inexpensive, and it makes all the difference. I would also encourage you, if you have a porch of some sort or steps that may need new paint, do that. Just because you walk on it, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't make a difference. Like, one of the next projects that I want to do is paint our porch floor, because it's not that it looks horrible, but I know that new fresher paint would really just brighten it up and make it look so much more put together. So if you've gotten this far in the video, comment down below and let me know if you've tried any of these tips on your home already, or if you feel like you want to incorporate any of the tips I've mentioned, or if you have any other tips that you think would be a great way to add curb appeal to the exterior of your home and that won't break the bank. I'm always looking for new ways to freshen up our space. As I mentioned, or I might have not mentioned, but my husband and I purchased our very first home a year ago, and so it wasn't too much of a fixer-upper, but still needed some upgrading, and so we love being able to pour our hearts into it and like our special touch, and always something that I'm looking forward to like getting new ideas for. On to tip number 8. So tip number 8 is to pressure wash, clean any spaces that have any excess dirt, or whether it's rust or just wear and tear, that some good soap and water or just pressure washing would really help, whether it's your fencing, your driveways, your walkways. If you have staircases that need to be washed, pressure washed, go ahead and do that. It makes all the difference, and you don't have to go and buy all these tools. You can rent a pressure washer. You can get one secondhand off Facebook Market, or if you want to buy one brand new, go to Harbor Freight. You can normally find tools a little less expensive there than Lowe's or Home Depot, and this really just makes all the difference. Tip number 9 is to add any florals or shrubbery to your landscaping. This is something that we have been doing slowly to our home, but we also want to do more when it comes to adding florals and shrubbery. This really can, I've used this word so many times in this video, but just liven up your space. It can add contrast and brighten it and just make it look very intentional again, like I said. One thing that I learned is that red and yellow are actually the top 2 colors that help to attract buyers to your home when you are selling a home. So if you're someone who's looking to add curb appeal to your home and you don't want to spend a lot because you plan on selling it soon or renting it or something of that nature, then definitely consider red or yellow florals for the outdoor space. Tip number 10 is to paint your house. I know this may be something that people are hesitant about, because when you want to paint your entire home, it's a big commitment, and if you hate the color, then it would suck to have to repaint it. But this is why you want to make sure you sample things, you know, play with the colors. One thing I am like obsessed with and I really would like to do to our home is to lime wash the brick. Our home has, I wouldn't say majority, but a lot of the exterior is brick. Like one of the first things I thought of when we bought this house was like, I would love to lime wash the brick. Some people may think, oh, lime washing paint is so expensive. It's like $300 for a gallon or whatever. But that's not necessarily true. I actually found some Pinterest, some blogs through Pinterest that mention you can lime wash your house for as low as $10. You can just buy the lime powder, I think it's called, and you mix it with water and you're good to go. Like, it's literally, that's how you make lime wash paint. I would say one of the drawbacks to that is you can't necessarily pick the tone or shading of your lime wash, whereas if you buy lime wash paint from the store, you can pick like an off-white, a creamier one, a more beige one. I think if you buy the actual lime wash powder, it may only come in like a plain white. I'm not 100% sure, I'll have to look it up, but I'll definitely leave some links below to some blogs that mention how to do your own lime wash if that's something you want to do but you just don't think you can afford it. Well, now you know you can't afford it. So if you want more tips on how to upgrade your home without breaking the bank, then you need to check out my video on 10 inexpensive ways to upgrade your home on a budget. Also, if you would like to show me love, then please give this video a thumbs up, comment down below, and share this video with someone that you think might find this helpful. This will let YouTube know that you all enjoy my videos and that you actually benefit from them, and it'll get it out to more people like you who love home and interior DIYs and everything on a budget like me. And that's all I have for you guys. Bye. Show someone love today.